a special edition where we're encouraging you to ask some questions. Not that we don't ask you to ask questions every week, but this week it's about, we want to be led by you. We're going to do a little bit of a refresher of some of the things that we've spoken about over the last few weeks. And Dr. Alice and Dr. Eriba, as always, will have all the answers to all our questions. So without any further ado, I will hand us over to Dr. Alice. Thank you so much, Dr. Alice.
You're welcome. So today we are going to answer your questions. I have a few questions, so I'm just going to share my slide and then we can discuss them. And then you can add other questions as we go. So I got some questions. So frequently asked questions, we ask people to send questions. At least we got a few, so we'll start with those, but you're welcome. So in the last few weeks, we've talked about lots of things, including your breakfast, your dinner, your stomach. What does your stool say about you? What does your breakfast say about you? Talked a lot about things. So it will be nice to hear. I'm always here because of courtesy of Sahara Nutrition by Hiba Araba. So the first question here is, apart from eating healthy, which food can help improve nerve damage, blood vision, female dryness, and fibroids? So when it comes to nutrition, I don't like to prescribe like eat more carrot every day, especially when it is like public health. Now, this is public health because a lot of people who are not here are also going to just listen to this information. Somebody is going to say that. So whenever you tell a patient that, okay, eat more carrots in your diet, we can only do that when you're talking to you. So we can give you the individual, some other things that you have to pay attention to. So we don't just prescribe. For nerves, you do this. But let me give you an example. So nerve damage can be because of maybe uncontrolled blood sugar. That's the one I'm very familiar with because I deal with diabetes. So if you have uncontrolled blood sugar, it can damage your nerves. And that means you have sensitive feet, fingers, and it's all over the place. So the first treatment for that will definitely be controlling the blood sugar. Number one, you have to control your blood sugar to ensure that you are, for us to be able to repair the nerve ending. And then remember, the body heals itself. So what does the body need for the body to heal itself? It needs nutrients, and it needs lots of nutrients. So we still have to eat healthy, of course, watching out that we do not increase nutrients that could further damage the nerve cells, especially sugar is bad for you. So in short, just to make it summary, when you're talking about nerve damage, we need certain nutrients. So we need B1 vitamins, which is what we call thiamine group. This one provides your nerves with the energy to function very well. So it means the foods that you'll pay attention to are vitamin B1 foods. So we can always provide you with a list of these foods later. And then vitamin B6, its function in your nerve is to relieve nerve pain and transmit nerve impulses. So we need vitamin B6. So we can provide a list of foods under vitamin B6. And then vitamin B12 regenerates the nerves, protecting them from damage. So most of the time, if you have that problem, you're definitely deficient in the B complex. We call this the B complex nutrients, and especially in vitamin B2, B12, or B1. So in other words, you need to eat the B foods. So your work will be to go and find out what is the list of foods that are high in B1, B6, and B12, plus all the other things you're already doing. Then you make sure that when you're keeping a diary, you have a variety of these foods and they come from everywhere. And of course, usually when you have nerve damage, sometimes we can give you supplements. This is the only times I always recommend supplements when people have nerve damage. And of course, their way of testing this. So the supplements is always the B complex and not like B1, B2, B6, and B12, not separate. Always one supplement that provides all the three, a B complex supplement. Yeah. So that's enough about nerve damage. So blood vision. Why are you having blood vision? When you have high blood pressure and it is very high, it's not controlled, you'll have blood vision. Blood pressure also damages your eyes, so you can have blood vision. So then you need to check what is the root cause of this problem, the blood vision. Is it the uncontrolled blood pressure? Is it uncontrolled blood sugar? What's the underlying problem? Once you have the underlying problem, nutrition can just support it, but does not treat it. It can support what the doctors call adjunct treatment. So you have your main treatment, the root cause of the problem, and then you add nutrition. And when it comes to your eyes and sight, the vitamin A's are the ones that you should really consume. Not really, you still need to eat healthy, you still need to eat sufficient foods, you still need to eat a variety of foods, make sure you're getting all nutrients, but pay attention. Am I getting sufficient vitamin A in my diet? So all the colored fruits, especially the orange colored, your carrots, that's very important for your vision. But remember, the root cause of the problem is a better solution to just managing a symptom. Female dryness. Interesting. I was having this conversation with some friends not too long ago. When women meet, they talk a lot about many things. And some friends say that when they get to a certain age, they're in their late 40s, they feel like they are really dry. And so it's partly related to hormonal. But the other thing that actually also causes, has been associated with female dryness is some sweeteners, those sweeteners we like to eat, those processed things, certain food preservatives for people who took a lot of nitrite in their diet, all these preserved foods, they also experience a lot of dryness. But all in all, for you to improve to improve the lubrication, we need to identify the cause. So is it hormonal? If it's hormonal, it can be treated. Is it just dehydration, not taking your water, not exercising? Because the one thing that I can swear to you by is that if you exercise regularly, you will never suffer from female dryness. But also check your tampons that you use. Sometimes you react to them and they actually cause the dryness, or pads or panty liners. Just change the whole thing and see what works. So usually, again, let's go back to, we have to identify the root cause. Fibroids. This is the one thing that I have actually seen success when it comes to nutrition. So fibroids, nobody actually knows the cause. It can be caused by so many things. People who got their periods early are likely to have very high fibroids. Some people don't have fibroids. Some people have fibroids. So it's really, there is no cause. But right now, the prevalence of fibroid is high, and ovarian cyst, and of course, the talk is lifestyle. But I've seen fibroids fibroids and period cramps. I've seen them respond to nutrition very, very much. And so it's the same thing. Some patients have dealt with, remove any form of processed foods in your diet. And then most of them, I made them vegetarians, because if you let them to still eat meat and all those chicken, and the access of the only access they have is only processed meat, processed chicken, or this chicken that has gone through production lines that already have some already has some chemicals, some antibiotics, and some stabilizers and steroids that get their system into the food. So I make them vegetarians, and I actually treat them like I'm treating a cancer patient. And a lot of them have responded very well. So if you have fibroids, you want to be my patient, If you do, as I say, I can promise some success. But that is the success I've had. I literally just, because you get women coming, okay, I want to get children. I'm in this age, I'm fertile, the clock is ticking, my fibroids are high. Not all of them have been successful, but very few have been successful. And the ones which were successful were very successful. The gynecologist was like, oh, what magic are you practicing? Not magic, just your diet. So you can shrink fibroids naturally. Okay, then we have, can the fluoride found in water affect us? Yes, it does affect us. And I see fluoride, there are in some, like even just in Kenya, there's some areas where there are very high fluoride levels. And so the water that comes from that community, like in the rivers or the water they use, is very corrosive. So it's corrosive to your dental health, and it is corrosive to, they also get discolored teeth a lot. So you can just tell people from this area it's high fluoride. So it discolors teeth. Okay, question 4. Do children above age 2 really need to be consuming milk if they're able to eat adult healthy meals? So children, they are still growing and their calcium needs are very high. Your calcium needs are high until you're like 30 something. When you have developed your bone structure and bone density to the maximum. So I really like this question, because what I find is that a lot of mothers, they give milk and a lot of milk. And so milk becomes the main diet. And if you have terrible twos who don't eat properly, then all they're consuming is milk, and that's not sufficient. So how I deal with some of my clients, I actually remove the milk from their diet, so that the mother can be a bit more creative. And when she's been creative with getting the child to eat all the meals, then I put the milk back. So milk should not be part of a huge meal, but a child having a glass or 2 a day is very good for their growth and development, as long as they're meeting all the other nutrients. But if it is the main diet, then we have a problem, because then they're not getting sufficient nutrients from all the other foods. So in short, yes, they still need to consume milk, like you and me. Yeah. So this was an interesting question. White, pink, black salt, has any got more health benefits than the other? So what's really the benefits of salt? Salt provides sodium and chloride, and these are very important in kidney function. They also help with to regulate your blood pressure. And so these they're important in your diet, but you all still get your sodium and all those, your sodium and chloride and other minerals from just eating your food, your natural food, you get them. So sometimes you don't have to add salt in your food. But white salt, in many countries, a lot of people don't get sufficient iodine in their diet. So then the white salt is iodized, so that a huge population can get iodine to be able to meet their iodine requirements. So in that case, then it is healthier to eat the white salt, because it is iodized and you need your iron, and the others are not iodized. But salt, it has very little nutrition value, if I may say, because what you find in salt, you will also find in other foods. So we eat salt just because we need it for taste, but you can also do without it. The pink salt is the Himalayan salt, which people say that they have so many benefits. But when it comes to this, then we look at the population there, how they use the salt. But salt is also used for many other things. So if you read about pink salt and where it comes from, and then black salt and where it comes from, it's used for skin, it's used for, scrubbing. So people have very smooth skins. And so that's what I have to say about it. But I also learn a lot from my clients. So please let us know if you have more information about black and pink salt that we need to know about. So then we have another question. White, brown sugar, coconut sugar, has any got more health benefits than the other? So the white sugar is the white table sugar that you use. Of course, it's very processed. And what happens when you take sugar, it raises your blood sugar, like literally your blood sugar goes up. And so people who are diabetic, hypertensive, overweight people who are likely to become diabetic in the future, and me and you who needs to prevent weight gain, so prevent obesity and prevent diabetes, we need to stay away from white sugar as much as possible. So not good. Brown sugar, it depends on the source. So the brown sugar comes from the molasses before it is processed. So it's actually got some nutrients. So it has magnesium, it has some chloride. So it's actually healthy to use the brown sugar. Because, oh, it changes the flavor of your tea or coffee. No, it doesn't matter. It's a lot healthier. So if you eat sugar, then eat the molasses. Absorption and all these things, it's just how much do you eat? How much do you take? So you can take white sugar once in a while. If you take a teaspoon or 2 or 3, that's okay. But if you take more than that, that's too much. Brown sugar, I mostly use it for baking, but I don't take sugar in my tea. So, but it's got nutrients. It's more healthier than your white sugar. Coconut sugar, I have never heard about it. I have never used it, and I was not able to do any research on it. So this, together with the information about fluoride, we can task Sahara Nutrition to provide more information for you.
Aliza, can I just make a comment? So,
yes,
that perception that brown sugar is healthier than white sugar makes people sometimes take that in excess. Can you comment on its effect on blood glucose? Because my understanding is that honey, white sugar, brown sugar would have the same effect on the blood sugar. Could you just throw some light on that, please?
Okay, thank you. I think I did mention, but I'll say again. So when we take sugar, it raises your blood sugar, and a teaspoon of sugar alone can raise your blood sugar by so many units. So when you're diabetic, you'll see it when you do your glucose test. And so also your brown sugar, it does the same. The only difference between white and brown sugar is that it has some nutrients because it's not been, it is raw sugar. So it has some nutrients. So you'll take it, but you get some nutrients, but it has the same effect on your blood sugar. When you take a teaspoon of white, a teaspoon of brown, they both raise your sugar at the same level. So at the end of the day, it is how much you take. So if you want to take brown sugar, fine, but how much? If you want to take honey, fine, but how much? And people think that honey is a lot better than sugar. So when you compare the sugar, what we are actually looking at is what is the impact on your blood sugar levels? And remember, when you take a lot of sugar and you're not diabetic, you're going to increase what you call your insulin response index, because every time you take sugar, the blood sugar goes up. Insulin is produced to put the sugar into the cells. So insulin is the key that opens the cell so that your body can utilize the sugar. So if you keep taking a lot of sugar, always your insulin response index goes higher and higher and higher, like your body overproduces insulin. And then the next time, a few years' time, the body will be tired of producing insulin. There'll be no insulin to utilize the sugar, and you will be diabetic. In fact, the first study that showed that taking a lot of sugar can cause diabetes was done in the UK a few years ago. They just looked at people who took Coca-Cola or many sodas a day and added sugar. And they showed these people live long enough to be diabetic. So I think I've emphasized enough. Portion size matters. Thank you.
Okay. Karen, do you see anything we haven't addressed?
No, but I wanted to talk a little bit. I did a little bit of reading, just as you were saying, about the coconut sugar, and it's said. I mean, don't quote me on this, but it's just what I'm reading. Is that coconut sugar contains healthy fats that are known to prevent high cholesterol and heart disease. Inulin is a type of dietary fiber that helps keep your gut healthy, and it prevents colon cancer, and then it helps to balance your blood sugar. So I think that's why people have been encouraged, and that's why we can see more of it now on the market or in the shops than we would do ordinarily. because I think there's an increase for people to move over from the white processed sugar and also brown sugar. So alternatives to, and I used to say alternatives to sugar, a different type of sugar is now encouraged, and coconut is one of those.
So why can't we just eat coconut whole? You know, the minute they have taken this coconut, put it apart, extracted sugar, extracted a product, they have interfered with nature. It's no longer healthy. So the same way we fight to protect nature. I mean, there are so many nature lovers, especially in the UK. I love them. They love animals, they love. But when it comes to food, we do not maintain that same spirit. So the minute you take the coconut, tear it apart, extract this, it's no longer natural. It's not whole. You're going to have to use some chemicals to put it in the shelf so it can stay in the shelf for long. And so they've used some preservatives and many other things, and you have lost lots of nutrients along the way. So I use the normal sugar, brown sugar especially. So just do that, but the quantities matter.
I think one of the things that the last few weeks especially has taught us is that, you know, in this quest to be healthy, that actually we're unhealthy. We've got a lot of unhealthy habits. I think the conversation that we had about, we were talking about preservatives there, and when you were talking about the use of vitamin tablets and all those things that we take, thinking that we're doing, you know, that they're healthy, you know, they're healthy for us, and actually they're not, you know. So that was a really interesting conversation about sort of how those tablets and juices and all those things are all being made and being preserved and all the rest of it, and actually the natural way of getting those vitamins is the best way, you know.
It is the best
I
way,
cleared my cupboard apart from the coconut the coconut sugar.
I always stay away from those aisles because the products look good, they make sense to use it, they are nicely packaged, but what's it going to do to my health? So because I'm always talking about nutrition, so maybe I'm a little bit more conscious about it. Just I was like, somebody's marketing, what's new? Oh, this is new. And then I listen and I'm like, it's not natural. Yeah. Then I said, thank you, darling. I will avoid that because we can make use of them. It's so easy.
I think one of the messages that I would love people to take home from this is that we are bombarded by so many different things on social media, on the television. Take this for your hair, take this for your nails, take this for your diabetes. There's just so many different things. But actually what you've been teaching us, Alice and Iba, is that, you know, if we eat healthy, if we eat good, and I keep saying fresh, good food, if we drink pure water, not the water with something in it, that if we do these simple measures, that actually that's our best medicine. And I've really taken that on board. And whereas, I mean, I've literally got a drawer full of vitamin tablets, you know, literally all these different vitamins that I was taking, because I thought I need to keep well, I need to keep my meat, all these different things. And just by now looking at my plate, and saying, have I got a bit of orange? Have I got a bit of green? Because I like colours, me. So I tried to make my plate so much more colourful, remembering that these different, you know, colours means, you know, gives me a little bit of a different, you know, vitamin or mineral that's needed in my body. So I think that was a really interesting, again, another really interesting and wonderful message that you've shared with us over the last few weeks.
I like that. And maybe I just add something about vitamins. I think we talked about it, but I don't know if I did mention this. You know, like a few years back, we had cases where a patient, she was not able to respond to anesthesia. And so she was taken to theater. She has the surgery. Fortunately, it was not emergency surgery, but she needed the surgery and she could not respond to anesthesia. And so they were shocked. Like, so took the patient back to the ward. What are you taking? You know, what do you do? And then the doctor said, you have to tell me everything you're taking, any diet, any vitamins, everything. Because I think a long time ago, the doctors don't use to take over. What are you taking any vitamins? No, it's what are you taking for your medication? And so they found that this lady was taking all those things you're saying, something for the hair, something for the nail, like so many mineral supplements separately. And mineral supplements are the most dangerous to take, especially when you're taking, you know, zinc on its own. you're taking different things. And so the doctor decided this is what has brought the complication. And the doctor was so angry. And the doctor picked the phone and called me. Alice, what are you doing? You should educate people to eat healthy. They are busy eating this, taking these vitamins. And then multi-level marketing for vitamins is very popular. So the person who prescribed these vitamins is really never a dietitian or a health professional. It's somebody in level marketing. And that's really dangerous. So then the patient had to stay maybe another 2-3 months before they could go back for surgery. Now imagine if it was a fatal surgery, you know. Another case was a patient who was taking a lot of calcium. Calcium, they've been told, take calcium, you know, you need calcium for your bones. So she was taking calcium. Unfortunately for her, she ended up having a thyroid problem. And so they took her to theater to go and do surgery on the thyroid. But guess what? It was just a mass of something, which they checked, and it was calcium. I mean, it's rare, it doesn't happen, but it ended up on her thyroid. So they go in and they find this mass, and it is, you know, calcium. I mean, the doctor was so angry, you know. So many things happen. And I think I mentioned last time, something like zinc, when you take zinc and you take more than you need, zinc binds iron. So you end up being iron deficient. In fact, during this COVID time, I found that they were prescribing really high doses of zinc. And I was like, do you guys know what zinc does? Let's go back to the table, you know. So it binds iron. So then you end up having iron deficiency. So a lot of women who take vitamins are likely to be iron deficient. In fact, the anemia, it's almost like every 6th woman is anemic because, and I can say it's because of all these things that we are taking. So yeah, so don't just take these vitamins. Yeah. Sometimes you need them, but not always.
I think I'm going to clarify something Faye wrote in the boxes that, you know, we want to make sure that we're not telling people not to take no vitamins. I think it's an excess of vitamins is what we're saying.
Excess.
And of course, we are encouraged to take our vitamin D. So we just want to really make sure that we get that across and there's no misunderstanding there, because vitamin D, as we know, we don't get sufficient. So we do need to have a top up there. And that obviously has its many, many health benefits. I know that my nails are growing and my hair is feeling thicker because I'm taking my vitamin D.
Yeah. Okay, so what was the question?
So that was just a comment that we were talking about. Faye, as we mentioned just before we came on air, was about the endometriosis. I can't say it. Endometriosis diet. And I mean, you talked about fibroids and how the change of diet can make a massive impact on people that suffer with fibroids. And I guess what the doctor said on Saturday was that, you know, changing one's diet can also make a massive difference with endometriosis as well.
So so thanks, Faye. I can't say that we talked about fibroids a little earlier, but with endometriosis, I can't say that there is exactly a diet for endometriosis. And then when it comes to endometriosis, it comes in stages, you know, like stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, you know. So when it's the early stages, diet does make a difference, because when you have endometriosis, there's also a lot of pain. And it's not just diet, it's also your exercise, your total lifestyle. So for people with endometriosis, we'll go back to total lifestyle change. Let's start. You know, what are you doing? What are you doing with your diet? What are you doing with your sleeping? What are you doing with your water? What type of foods are you eating? Are you eating natural food? Are you eating processed foods? Are you eating refined foods? And then we completely need to change their diet so that we put them on a healthy diet, usually very rich in vegetables and fruits, and natural. Because when you eat, when you're sick, you're given a painkiller, that's one. You're given something else, you know, nerve, relaxant, something you get a lot of. But when you eat food in your diet, it gives you so many other nutrients, get your vitamins, get your minerals, get your enzymes, you get different things at a go that helps. And the body heals itself as long as you give it what it needs. Sometimes, of course, because of imperfection, you can not always get everything, but it does help. When you guys were talking, when you and and I think he was talking about nutrition, I was thinking about how I work with the physicians and how sometimes they write notes, they write, rule out, like do this blood test so you can rule out this condition and rule out this condition. And so even for all of us, let's eat healthy so we can always rule out nutrition, So when they go back, when you have a condition, they're like, rule out nutrition because this person eats healthy. Rule out fatigue or sleeping problem because they sleep. Rule out dehydration because they hydrate. So let's rule out nutrition when you are sick so that I can identify the real problem. And so when it comes to treating your, managing your diet for all these conditions, we have to identify the root problem of the root cause of the problem, and then go on to manage. But eating healthy benefits everybody. But I can't say there's a specific nutrient that you have to eat for your endometriosis. It's applying all those principles we've been talking about here. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Alice. That was a great answer. And I think what we're just sort of re-emphasizing, it's like going back to basics, isn't it? Especially if you are not well or you have some other health issues, that the first thing to start with is getting that diet right. And one of the things that you've drummed home to me is about the natural foods, and I mentioned it before, but it's being very mindful how unnatural. I think just when you talked about the sugar before, I thought I was doing something healthy. You saw me put my hand on my head because I thought, and I thought actually I hadn't even thought about that being processed. So we really do have to be mindful of what we think or what we're eating and what we're consuming, what we put on our bodies also, that's so important. So thank you for sort of just reminding us over and over again how important that is.
Yeah.
That's really, I've got a couple of questions, but I think I want to just pick up on that point, Alice, and that, our body changes, the way we react to things changes, especially as women, we go through different stages in our lives and our body, reacts to that. So I think what you said there is that, an example of that potentially or possibly happening to others too. Thank you. So I've got a couple of quick questions. What food is good for pain relief? Is there such a food? What foods can aid with sleep? And what are the mainstays of an anti-inflammatory diet? I know, just to challenge you, Alice.
Okay, interesting. So pain management. So still, I don't know if we talked about pain the last time we were talking about joint, but I'll just talk very little. Maybe we can research another time and just talk about pain and nutrition. But just like we've been saying about all these conditions, we can't say it's exactly this diet. Eat this diet and you'll be fine. But people who have chronic pain, maybe from cancer or what, we manage them like, you manage pain and people with pain, and like you may manage both cancer. But what I know for sure, and this is I've seen in my experience working with patients, is when people have arthritis and they get that arthritic pains, if they are just hydrate very well and remove dairy from their diet, and I'm just talking about arthritic patients, then studies have shown that, if you remove dairy from their diet, it creates an impact. So just making sure they are well hydrated actually reduces the pain. So when it comes to pain, there's a lot about pain. Is it arthritic pain? Is it pain related to cancer? Is it pain related to an injury? Because it's also during when it's cold, you feel more pain. When it's hot, you're fine. So then we have to really go back to what's the root cause of the problem, but then always rule out diet. If you're practicing healthy diet and you still have pain, you're sleeping, you're hydrating, you remember those, I think there's 6 things we talk about, the free, FR, 3 E's, and an S. Free of toxins, identify toxins in your diet, remove them, rehydrate, eat healthy, exercise regularly, have enough rest, and treat stress management, So, still, we still leave you with, we need to know more about what type of pain it is, but rule out nutrition and then the rest can be managed. Ruling out nutrition means, and lifestyle means that you're practicing healthy lifestyle. Yes. So you said pain relief. What foods aid to sleep? We know that milk aids to sleep, but remember what we talked about some time back. We were talking about the amount of food you eat. So we have two hormones that compete in the evening. We have serotonin levels, which comes from eating a lot of food. So this goes up. When it is up, your melatonin levels, which is what helps you sleep, which should be high, is lower. So for you to make sure your melatonin levels are higher so that you get better sleep, you need to eat very early in the evening, and you need to avoid things like that that are digested for a long time, like your animal proteins. You can avoid them at night. So it's not a particular food that will make you sleep, but it's your habit that will improve your sleep. And then, what is the main source of anti-inflammatory diet? So anti-inflammatory, people ask that question a lot, but it's usually it will just, if I tell you the list, you'll just, you'll be like, okay, that's everything I eat. But one of the things I did I studied fatty acids for my PhD, and really, like omega-3 fatty acids have been known to be very, very good anti-inflammatory supplements, Yeah. So those are some of the supplements that I can prescribe. But also, you get different inflammatory markers from different foods. You get them from your tomatoes. So you get them from your red fruits and vegetables. You get them from your green fruits and vegetables. So in other words, if you're going to benefit from anti-inflammatory, then it means you need to eat some of these foods raw for you to get your enzymes, and also to get your anti-inflammatory dose. So during the week, always make sure you eat some raw foods, raw vegetables, different types of different colors, then you get your inflammatory. I hope that's sufficient for now, but that can also be just a whole topic, by the way. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got one more question and then we're going to come to a close. So thank you so much, Alice. So the last question is from Faye, and Faye says, research by the British Heart Foundation shows that beetroot is good for blood pressure reduction. Can you give a view on this?
So I don't know if Faye was here at the beginning, but I don't know. Let me just repeat what I said. In public health, I should not stand in a room and tell people, hundreds and thousands of people, that beetroot is good for your blood pressure. What is the layperson going to do? They will take beetroot and take beetroot and take beetroot and forget the other foods. So when it comes to nutrition and public health and health promotion principles, there is no one food that is going to improve your blood pressure. Just remember, if you're eating meat at night, for example, your blood pressure will be high because that amino acids increases your glomerular filtration rate, and your blood pressure will be high at night. So whether you eat beetroot or not, it's going to be high. So for me, in my working in the nutrition for the last 20-something years, I do not say things like that in public. But if you want to sit down with me and have a specific question, then I can tell you what the benefits in beetroot. And if it's something you don't include in your diet, just include it in your diet. It's beneficial for a lot of things. I am a lover of beetroot, and I got so many spices. I got so many recipes for just beetroot. But it's just part of my healthy diet. So I would not recommend that if you're hypertensive, just eat beetroot. No, you need to do all the other things. And then just add beetroot, current color to your food.
Thank you so much. I'm laughing because I've actually got a recipe of a cake with beetroot in it. So we can still have healthy cakes with beetroot. I want to say a massive thank you to you because it's been a great session where we've been able to sort of recap on some of the work that we've done over the last few weeks, really. And I think it's been nice to answer some of those little questions that may not have been answered. I mean, we've had quite a few questions coming through. So we hope that we've been able to clarify those unanswered questions throughout the session. Unfortunately, Orlando isn't able to join us tonight, and hence that's why we've been able to, to extend the nutrition half hour to nearly an hour. So I want to say thank you, a very special thank you to Alice for tonight. Thank you, Hariba, for also helping with the questions. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all again very, very soon. Thank you.